Hello, Facebook. So we were in the grocery store and I was trying to think of something to eat, and my husband made the suggestion, Hamburger Helper. And I looked at him crazy because I'm not buying a packaged Hamburger Helper, but I did tell him that I would attempt to make some because I've done it before. I haven't done it in a while. I did it probably back when we were really trying to do clean and didn't tell him. So here is normally how I would do a Hamburger Helper type of pasta meal. In a bowl, I have a pound of ground turkey with a teaspoon and a half of olive oil, and in a bowl I have the seasonings I'm going to add to it. Basically what I'm going to do is make an Italian sausage. My husband does not like Italian sausage. I believe it's the sage and fennel seeds. So what I've done is create like a herb and spice mixture that has everything but in it. In here is a teaspoon of salt because I have a pound of meat, a teaspoon of dried paprika, a teaspoon of dried garlic powder, a teaspoon of dried parsley flakes, a half a teaspoon of dried onion, the minced kind, not the powder, a quarter teaspoon of oregano, a quarter teaspoon of thyme, half a teaspoon of dried celery, and half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. And I'll just add this to here, mix it in, and let it sit and come to room temperature. And that helps when you're cooking ground turkey meat, because sometimes ground turkey meat can get a little, it won't get a fine crumble when you cook it, and I'll show you how to do that so that it's not huge chunks of turkey meat, and it actually looks like ground meat when you cook it. Before I add it to the pan though, I'll add half of a medium diced onion, half a cup of chopped red bell pepper, and saute that up, and then add the ground turkey meat to it. After I cook all those together, I'll add spinach, half of this jar of spaghetti sauce. This is Rinaldi. I love this one because there's no preservatives or additives. It's gluten-free, which really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But I also, especially, there's a recipe, but I also especially love it because everything that is on this label, I can go pick up off the shelf in the grocery store. And if I'm going to buy, get it close so you can see. If I'm going to buy prepackaged food, I want to make sure that it didn't have a bunch of crazy stuff in it. And this one is pretty good. And it tastes good. You don't have to do anything to it. I found a lot of times when I was getting the jarred and canned spaghetti sauce, I was having to add stuff to make it taste good, and that's not fun. I'll also add in half a cup of finely chopped, grated or finely chopped Parmesan cheese after everything is cooked. And of course pasta, but I'll show you exactly how I put it together in just a second. I want to point out two things first. First, my kitchen is not dirty. The blue thing you saw on the sink was actually this dish in my kitchen strainer. That's why I keep my kitchen strainer to save space. And if you want to know why these empty fruit and veggie containers are on the counter, go watch my Num Nums edition video. Okay, so on the stove, I have the bell peppers and onions, and I said saute, but because I am cooking turkey in this pan, and I have a kind of special way that I do it, I didn't actually use oil. I used water, and I kind of steamed them. Added a half a cup at a time until they were translucent on, if you can see that, medium heat to the right. And they are translucent. Now I actually had to add half a cup twice. Now I am going to add the ground turkey, but before I do that, I'm going to add half a cup of water. Alright, so this is the half cup of water with the ground turkey sausage that I made. Ground turkey Italian type sausage that I made. And what I'm going to do is just stir this around in this water bell pepper mixture. The water and the bell peppers will kind of help cut up this big huge chunk of ground turkey and keep the granules of it kind of small so that I don't have big huge chunks of meat in it. If you're not worried about it at all, then just cook it how you normally do. But this is a good way to do it and not have to add any oil to it and to keep it kind of small. And you see I'm kind of pressing it with the back of the spoon, moving the water and the onions and bell peppers through it. But yeah, you don't have to do this. This is just how I do it. It doesn't help brown the meat. Ground turkey needs oil to brown because it doesn't have any oil in it. You can, after you do this, add a little bit of oil to the pan, warm it up, and brown it. It's not that big a deal, but you do not have to. And I figured the ground turkey is going to be in the sauce anyway, so you're not going to be able to tell whether it's browned or not. So I'll come back with the last step of the video where I add everything together, and it should be my homemade version of Hamburger Helper. So I have finished cooking the ground meat. I went ahead and added the spinach, and then I made sure all the water was cooked out. And you can see there's some fond in the bottom of the pot, but that's okay. That's just flavor, and the sauce will help that to come up. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll add sauce, pasta, and pasta water as needed, and keep going until, I don't know if I'll use all the pasta. I cooked the whole box, but I'll keep going until I use half of the sauce. So here's some sauce. I'm going to do 2 ladles. And I'm also going to turn my fire down. I turned it sky high to get that water cooked out of it. And I warm my sauce. You do not have to, but what often we end up doing is adding a little more sauce on top. And since we're eating this for dinner tonight, I wanted it to go ahead and be warmed up. Okay, so got the sauce in there. And remember, Hamburger Helper isn't incredibly saucy. Pasta. Just get a good bit of that and put that in there. I'll add just a little bit more because I don't want to have to do this a bunch. I think that should be enough. Yeah, we shall see. I put about half of the box of cooked pasta in there. And like I said, I have some of the pasta water reserved. It'll help the pasta absorb. Ooh, this looks good. I think that's going to be enough pasta. It'll help the pasta absorb the sauce. And keep it from being too, you know how pasta, it absorbs everything you put in it. So, and keep it from being too, oh, that looks perfect. Yay! I did it! Okay, so, to recap, and I'm going to add just a half a cup of pasta water. The fire is still on, so some of this will cook out. To recap, I seasoned my ground turkey meat with a mix of seasoning. I steamed a half an onion and bell pepper in water, and added water to my ground turkey meat to make it to make the granules of it a little bit smaller when it cooks. And then I added steamed spinach, pasta sauce, about half of a jar, and I may have a little bit more. Oh, this looks perfect. I'm not adding anything else to this but the cheese. Pasta sauce, half a box of cooked pasta. I used whole wheat, and now we're gonna add the cheese. Ooh, yummy, yummy, yummy. I think husband is gonna like dinner, and baby girl will too. Okay, so this is it. You do not have to use ground turkey meat. You do not have to add spinach if you want it to be a traditional Hamburger Helper. Oh, you do not have to make turkey sausage. You can just leave the ground turkey meat without adding anything else to it. That looks good to me, though. I enjoy it. I wonder if I can get a little more light in the pot. That would be nice. But yeah, I'll take a picture of this so you can see the final product, and I'll plate it up. I may make that the thumbnail. But this looks good. Woo-hoo-hoo! And it didn't come out of a box.